You are listening to the Marketing 32 Show with your host, Brett Allen.
Hi, Brett Allen here, host of the Marketing 32 Show, where I connect with leading dentists and influencers and industry experts, as always, to uncover the latest and greatest in dentistry to help your practice grow and thrive. This episode is brought to you by our team here at Marketing 32. We're the only dental marketing team that I know of with a performance guarantee that if you're not growing, you don't pay us. We truly are invested in your growth. If you need help with growing your practice, let us know at marketing32.com. We can have a quick call, see if we'd be a great fit to work together. Quick shout out to Dat Nguyen. Recently had him on the show, talked all about mindset and visualization and law of attraction, all of these things that are connected to the universe, if that's your thing. It was a very fascinating interview. Check that episode out. Today, I'm excited to have a new friend of mine, Fred Joyal. As his reputation precedes him, you guys know him in the industry. He is the co-founder of 1-800-Dentist and also the author of 3 best-selling books, including Everything is Marketing and Becoming Remarkable. Becoming Remarkable.
Remarkable wouldn't be bad either. So.
I was like, let's tie that in. He is an international keynote speaker and a very selective business advisor. His humble brags are he once lost $250,000 on Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? And he also once beat Sir Richard Branson in chess. Fred, grateful to have you on the show. This will be a fun conversation today.
Yeah, Brett, excited to be here.
Yeah, I mean, you dropped a bunch there in the bio. We could just go down the rabbit hole on all those stories. But before we kind of go anywhere, how did you get into dentistry? What's your story? Why dentistry? And tell us.
So my real business life began in the advertising world. I was a copywriter and then briefly a creative director. And a friend of mine had the 800-Dentist phone number that he had gotten when 800 numbers first came out way back in 1979. And he had it ringing to his house. And he saw me working in advertising. He said, I think you could turn this into a business. And so I was young and naive and thought I could do something. And another friend of mine, Gary St. Dennis, was a stockbroker. And he says, I'm so tired of losing people's money so that I can get rich. He says, I can't, my soul is disappearing here. And so we both took a shot and, found 18 dentists to go along with it. We had radio spots that we were running and a little call center where we would answer the 800 number and refer to these doctors. And, it worked. We got 50 phone calls the first day. And we went, wow, this something here. Because you never know when you start a business. And then for 3 years, we didn't know if it was going to be profitable because we just kept dumping money into the advertising and signing up more dentists and adding more cities till, by the time of 1995, we had almost 4,000 doctors on board all across the country, in the top 40 markets around the country.
Wow.
It still exists in some minor form. Gary and I sold it about 8 years ago as Google was eating us. But it was great. And and along the way, I started to disseminate all of this knowledge about advertising and marketing and everything I had learned from great dentists who had succeeded with 800 Dentists. And then all of the millions of phone calls, we had more information about what people were looking for in a dentist than anybody else had ever aggregated.
Data.
Yeah. And, what they liked, what they didn't like, what they complained about, what scared them, and what made them attracted to a practice, made them loyal to a practice. So that's when I wrote Everything is Marketing. And then eventually that, as the digital world came on and online reviews and all of that stuff came on, I wrote Becoming Remarkable, which the subtitle is How to Create a Practice Everyone Talks About. Because at that point, when they talked, they did it digitally and it lasted forever and was searchable and likable and undeletable, So
yeah, fascinating. So Everything is Marketing. So you took what you learned from 1-800-Dentists and came out with this book. Tell us some things that are in the book. What's the concept? Everything is Marketing. We were talking about this at Dicoma recently, but for our listeners, how do you explain that?
So what I tell people is if you understand the title really well and just adapt it, you don't have to read the book. But the book is about explaining how you apply this concept that everything that the patient experiences either increases case acceptance or decreases it. It either increases loyalty and the value of your dentistry or decreases it. Nothing is neutral to the patient. Everything they see, touch, taste, hear, and smell, from starting with your ad or your website to the phone call to walking into practice to what it smells like, to what the lighting is, to what anybody says to them, and how you present, and then what's the aftercare? Is there an evening check-in call? I mean, we broke down all of these things and said marketing is much more important than the advertising. Advertising will get them to the door. Marketing is what turns them into an accepting patient if it's done right. And so like I said, don't waste, if you don't answer the phone well, for example, at the front desk, don't waste your money on advertising,
Right.
because that's what you're doing. You might as well, set fire
Burning
with
money.
it. At least it
Yeah.
would generate heat in the practice. So you'd have that going for you. But otherwise, get these things tight and then spend money on advertising. And it expanded over time to what's your website? What's your social media? How are you getting your uniqueness out there?
Right.
But that was the whole premise of it. And people still buy the book. The book is 15 years old. I'm actually, in January, I will be releasing Everything is Still Marketing, which is
cool.
the seriously updated version of it, because a lot's changed. I think there's MySpace in the first edition of
Oh, wow.
Everything is
When did that
Marketing.
book come out?
So,
When did that?
Yeah. So, 2010.
Okay. Yeah, lots
Yeah.
changed since then. Now you got AI.
And when I updated it 4 times, I revised it 4 times, and then finally 6 years later, I wrote Becoming Remarkable, because I was like, I gotta put a different book out. But that people still, at Dykema, I must have run into 10 people that said they knew me because of the book. And one guy, he said, I just wanted to tell you, Everything is Marketing. He says, I've made millions off of what's in that book, because he just applied it. He said, I understood for the first time what I was trying to do and what I was not doing well, and how I could fix it in presenting my practice to my patient base. Because everybody thinks, oh, if I get great clinical skills, that's all I need. It's like a tiny fraction of what a patient appreciates. Yeah.
Yeah. When it comes to business management and managing a team, managing an office, that's non-clinical. All of this, the patient experience, like you said, what they're hearing, how they're presented, treatment, all of that is huge. So there's so much nuance to it too. I remember when I was learning with Russell Brunson, was a mentor of mine, founder of ClickFunnels. I was part of his inner circle mastermind for a number of years. This is where I met Dr. Anissa Broussard and Jamie Amos and some others in the dental industry. But man, we would focus on the nuances in a webinar presentation of wording, tonality, colors. You can imagine when it comes to a patient experience and what it's like when they come into the practice. If you're not saying things the right way, or if you don't have the right ambiance, all of these things, like you said, it just all builds towards, are they going to say yes or no? And even better, the only type of exponential marketing is referral based. Are they going to refer their friends and their family, right? I think that's brilliant. I need to get the book and read it and check it out.
Yeah. And then I'll send you the new one so you can compare and contrast. You go like, wow.
Are you addressing any kind of AI in the new book? Can you bring that up?
You have to. Yeah. I mean, it's impacting both the clinical side of dentistry and the practice promotion side. So what I find is that dentists are dialed into it, because it's great. I mean, they've got, I asked the group, one of the last lectures I did, I asked the dentist, I said, okay, how many of you have the Chat GPT app on your phone? 3/4 of them raised their hand.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, this is good, because you need to just do it so that you're not falling behind, because it's moving faster than you.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I wonder if I'm Google, I'm nervous. I mean, they've got Gemini as their AI, and there's a host of other AIs that compete with ChatGPT. But I think from a standpoint of like where we go to get our information and where we go to make a decision on who we're going to go see for a dentist, AI is gradually taking over market share from Google. And if you're not playing that game of like what it takes to get to the top of ChatGPT or these other AI, then your competitors are going to get more of that traffic. Now it's a new platform. So
Yeah, I mean, what's happening is it becomes their base search engine now.
yep.
And Google is trying to capture that with the Gemini result at the top.
Right.
But that only hurts everybody who's trying to advertise down below, because
Yeah.
they've taken the top third of the space to try to compete in the AI portion of the space. So it's going to be an interesting challenge. And boy, is it a moving target.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. We figured out some things. If you guys are interested in working with our team from an SEO standpoint, we figured out how to get to the top of ChatGPT. There's schema and other things that we implement in the website to make sure you're showing up when a patient asks about dentists or dentist near them or a particular service that you offer. So, yeah. So, well, let's move on to what you're most excited about talking about at ADOM, which I'll see you there next.
Yeah.
Tell us more about this next lecture topic that you've come out with.
Yeah. So a few years ago, I completed a work that I was very passionate about, which was how to develop boldness as a life skill. Because most people think that you're either born bold or you're not, and there's no controlling it. Whereas actually, it's a learnable life skill. And I know this because I was incredibly introverted growing up, and I've taught myself to become bolder and bolder and bolder. And it's made all the difference in my life. And I want people to know that they can do it, and that it's important to do that, develop this skill to get to their dreams, to not stack regret.
Parler de la réalité. En même temps, c'est pas forcément aujourd'hui, on a quoi? On a de la...
You develop more confidence because you take bold action. And that's the other fallacy, is people think, oh, I would be bolder if I were more confident. The reality is it's the other way around. It's taking bold action, what I call everyday bravery, being willing to step into something that you're uncomfortable with, you're afraid of how it's going to go, and you do it anyway. And all of a sudden you build your boldness muscle because you're getting stronger from trying, and you didn't die, right? Like we all, if I were ever on stage doing public speaking, people say, oh, I would die. It's like, nah, you really wouldn't. And nobody would remember it for more than 30 seconds, except you. You'd chew on that bone for the next 30 years and never go on stage. But it's so important to understand that the way you do it is by doing bold things when the consequences are insignificant, inconsequential, so to speak, so that the failures are insignificant. And just like when you're exercising and you're building a muscle, what do you aim for in an exercise? Failure.
Yeah. You want to push it. Yeah.
Yeah. If you say, well, that was a really comfortable workout, you didn't work out.
Right.
So, we're all, when you're doing curls or bench press or squats, you're aiming for the one you can't do, right? That's where the most growth happens.
Yeah.
So and because there's no negative consequences to failure in workout, there's only upside. So it's the same thing, building your boldness muscle. I have all these exercises people can do where there's no downside. Smile at 5 people a day, and if they don't smile back, nothing bad happens.
Right.
But what happens is you go, wow, that's not a big deal. And then you just keep increasing those things that you do to expand your comfort zone, because that's what happens, so that you're bold when it really matters, that you don't hesitate, you don't stop yourself, and you don't get a regret that's going to gnaw at you for the rest of your life. Because that's what I'm passionate about, helping people to step up, to speak up, to take action when it really matters, because that's when they stop themselves. They go, oh, I'm pretty confident in this situation and that situation. I said, yeah, but when it's crucial, you fold, you freeze, you hesitate, and the window of opportunity closes, and that nags at you for forever, because you go, I should have. And if you find yourself saying, I should have done this, I should have said that, I should have tried that. Hey, remember that the number one thing that people say on their deathbed, and this is documented, is that I wish I had lived a life by my own design rather than what other people expected of me. And they have all of these regrets because they weren't bold enough to live their own life. And so they let somebody else design it.
So how does that I'm with you on that. This is profound. How do you tie this into dentistry then? What's the tie in there?
I mean, it doesn't matter what your career is, it's going to affect it. I mean, it takes boldness to ask a patient to do a video testimonial, which is the number one most powerful marketing tool ever created, is a patient video testimonial. And if you're afraid to ask it, you're missing on the most powerful free marketing tool. They hand you in your business, Brett, they hand you a dozen patient video testimonials. You're off to the races with that practice, right? You got gold to work with.
Can repurpose them in ads, put it on the website. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, and so it takes boldness to fire that person that has been in the practice way too long and is bringing the whole atmosphere down in that practice, and to stop giving yourself reasons why they get to stay, even though it's infecting the whole practice like a deep pocket perio. And so it takes boldness to present big cases, which is where your best marketing comes from. You're not getting new patients from your prophies. You're getting new patients from the transformational dentistry.
Transformation. 100%.
Those people are your advocates. Those are your apostles out there preaching about how amazing you are and how the impact you've had on every aspect of their life because of what you've done with their smile. You got to be able to, I have friends who they can present $100,000 case without batting an eye. And there's other dentists who couldn't present $10,000 case with a gun to their head. And it's why? Because they're not bold enough. They didn't build up to do that. So that it's an average practice versus a highly successful, highly impactful process with the majority of their patients accepting optimal care. That's what boldness can do. And then it bleeds into the rest of your life. You're able to talk with your spouse and say what you expect in a relationship. You're able to make the tough love decisions with your parenting rather than just trying to be liked by your child or protect them from all stress and difficulty, which makes them the most unresilient generation in the history of mankind.
Oh man, we could talk about that for a while. I've got 4 daughters, and parenting is quite the task lately. With 2 of them are twins; they're seniors in high school, and parenting grows you for sure. I love it. Yeah, this concept of boldness for sure. It resonates with me. I used to have this quote back in college. I was a college athlete back in the day, swam, and pretty good swimmer. But I had this quote from, who was it? Fortune favors the bold. It was like a pirate or something. I forget, Blackbeard or something like that. But fortune favors the bold. You don't make any money if you don't ask for it. You don't have that.
If you're an entrepreneur and you don't go out and knock on doors and find yourself some clients and take some risks. I mean, everything we learned at 800 Dentists, we learned by losing money. Trying something. Well, that TV station didn't work. That ad didn't work. That
Right.
script on the phone didn't work. That,
Yep.
that contract didn't work.
Yep.
And so we had to invent everything in the business. But what happens, the other amazing thing that happens is when you are bold, and this is what bold people learned and why they are this way, is very often there's an unexpected result that's way more beneficial. Like we were just, when you talked about when I was on Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? Everybody told me not to go for the last question because, everybody backstage is like, nobody gets it. They don't want to give away this money. So don't go for it. I couldn't not go for it because
yeah. What if you make it?
what if I found out what the question was and I knew the answer,
Right.
then I'd be upset with myself forever. But
Right.
getting it wrong, I was okay because I had tried. I took a swing, and that's the change that can happen. Is trying and failing feels way better than not trying, because not trying,
At least you know the
you
outcome.
guaranteed the loss.
Right. Right.
And what happened is they just ran the episode endlessly because I went for the last question. And I had an 800 dentist shirt on the whole time. So we had like $1 million of free advertising because I took a shot. So there was a hugely unexpected benefit to just being bold about, I'm going to go for this question because I'm a little crazy. It's like, I can't live with not trying. But that's where I want to get people to, is like, be comfortable trying and failing, be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And not knowing how it's going to go. But bold people expect the unexpected. That's kind of the paradox. Is like, I'm going in because something interesting is going to happen. I'm going in for this, but I might get that.
Yeah. Well, on this line of boldness, you've got a bold new revolutionary healthcare solution that you're promoting and helping get off the ground. Let's talk about that. What is this new thing that you've come across?
Yeah, because as excited as I am to get on stage and talk to dental practices about marketing and boldness in their practice, I'm a business coach as well, and very selective, as you said, about who I bring in. I have to believe that the business is as profoundly better than anything that exists, and I have to like the people that are in it. And so I met this biochemist about a year ago, and she has developed a non-pharmaceutical formula that prevents the buildup of calculus by balancing the oral biome. And I know that it works because I've used it on myself. Because when she told me about it, I went, yeah, I've heard this story before. But then I started to see the science that she had, and then I used it for 6 months. And my prophy was borderline insignificant. I had no plaque on my lower arch. And she said, your upper arch is like you've been here a month ago. And I said, wow, this really is working. And so I am a profound believer in helping this product to get out there. And because I believe it's a worldwide health solution, because it's not a pharmaceutical. And when you can balance somebody's biome in their mouth, the perio beats back, the healthy bacteria take over. And, we have all of these people who are losing their teeth because of their sugar diet, because the bad bacteria love sugar more than your healthy bacteria. And we feed them day and night.
Yes.
And they're just pumping the acid out. And what happens with this formula is it tricks the bacteria into thinking that they're eating sugar, and it really puts them on a keto diet, and they stop emitting acid. They stop excreting the acid that's doing so much damage, and it keeps them from colonizing because the colony doesn't thrive.
Needs the acidic. Yeah.
And so, and all we need, I mean, that's everything else, like anything antibiotic or, that kills the bacteria, kills all the bacteria.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So the best thing about our bodies is our biome is our greatest protection when it can thrive, when we don't impair it, whether it's on our skin or in our mouths or in
your gut.
in our gut, in a woman's vagina. All of this stuff is about balance, because we have 20 billion healthy bacteria working for us if we can just take care of them and not send in and not arm the enemy, so to speak.
What's does it have a brand? Is it publicly available? Is it what's it called?
Yeah, so it's being distributed by some dentists right now. There's a website called Daily Dental Cares with an S.com where you can get it. It comes in mint form. It comes in a water supplement and also in a toothpaste tablet. The interesting thing is, 2 years ago, she launched the pet line because it works the same way on dogs and cats. And so, and it's just a water additive in that case, but pets lose, 10 to 20% of their lifespan because of poor oral health. And a prophy on a cat or a dog, that's like $1,000. And it's only good for a few weeks because they go right back to just like humans. So this is the other thing that I'm on, and I'm helping her find the the right partners and the right investors and all of that.
As a non-pharmaceutical, it can just be sold over the counter. It's not any. I don't know what goes into that process of like.
Well, it's
do you have to have clinical trials, all of that?
At which we have, but it's essentially it functions as a nutraceutical.
Oh, okay, like a supplement kind of.
Yeah, and it's the formula is patented, of course, but it doesn't have to go through the FDA pharmaceutical process, which can take 7 years, and then they deny you.
Right.
And you start over again.
It takes a lot of money, everything, all of that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's you're not sure how it's going to go. Yeah.
What was the website again? So we've got it we'll put it in our show notes too.
Daily Dental Cares with an
dailydentalcares.com. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we're about out of time. I always ask everybody if you could give one golden nugget piece of advice that would have a ripple effect across all their life or their practice. What would that one piece of advice be, Fred?
And this is something I heard and it resonated with me so much that I talk about it in my lectures as well, because it applies so much to boldness as a life skill, is the magic that you seek is in the things you avoid.
So saying no.
Just think about that. So the magic you're looking for in your life is all in those things that you're avoiding. It's really interesting. Whether you want love, but you never go online to try to meet anybody, because it's all strange people on there. It's like, yeah, so you're avoiding it. You've given yourself a reason to avoid it, so you don't get love about it. You're a dentist. You're trying to grow your practice, but you don't want to change anything. You're avoiding new technology. You're avoiding bringing in a marketing professional to instead of trying to figure it out yourself, because you got burned a couple of times. We've all been burned on all sorts of stuff. We all avoid all sorts of stuff because of something bad that happened. Yeah. But this is life. You gotta step back into the ring and take an ass whipping sometimes. And sometimes you learn how to win, but you get stronger, you get resilient, but sometimes
you got to confront the things you're avoiding.
Yeah, because a lot of times that's where that's where the magic is. And I've seen it happen so many times to people when they say, I'm just going in. I'll never forget this young woman who was terrified of bungee jumping. And she stood on the platform for 20 minutes and afraid to jump, bawling her eyes out. And she finally went. I would have bet she wasn't going. She went. And she embraced her fear. She didn't get over her fear. She went. She leaned forward far enough to go because she knew she was avoiding it. And she knew she had to conquer that. But she came back up on the bridge after to do it again. And she said, if that was so much fun, why would I ever be afraid of anything ever again.
Yeah.
That's how profound an effect. That was the magic for her. Is she said, I'm avoiding this risk, this ostensible
a
danger.
perceived risk. Yeah.
Yes. After even watching 20 other people do it.
Right.
And it's the same thing as in dentistry. You don't have to invent the new dental practice to succeed. The way to have a successful dental practice is being done. Just like there's ways to have a really unsuccessful practice that's being done.
Right.
But, take a hard look at what you're avoiding and why you're avoiding it. Maybe you want to be a public speaker and you're avoiding it because it's like, oh, people, I don't want people to think I'm stupid, or they're going to laugh at me, or I'm going to get tongue tied, or I'm going to go into a flop sweat. It's like, so what?
Yeah.
Do you think I was good when I started speaking? I sucked. Okay. And I sucked less the next time, and the next time, and the next time,
Practice
and the next
makes
time.
perfect. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And now I can walk out in front of 5,000 people and it's just fun.
Yeah.
I got all the magic now. So.
Well, I'm excited to see you at ADOM on coming up. I don't know if we'll have this episode out by then, but thank you so much, Fred. This has been an awesome conversation. A lot of value you've shared, a lot of great advice. If people want to work with you, if they're lucky enough to be that selective few that get to have Fred as their business advisor, or if they want to just learn more about you or have you come speak, where do we send them?
So all the books are on Amazon, and they're in Kindle and Audible and hardcover, and it's me reading the books. And fredjoyal.com, Joyal, is my website if you want to learn more about my speaking and see some my speaker reel and some events that I've done and stuff, and talk about a keynote for your businesses. That's the best way to find me.
Great.
And I'm Fred Joyal everything on social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook.
I'm
TikTok.
sure you're not hard to find. We'll put all of that in the show notes. Well, thank you again, Fred, for coming on. This has been awesome.
Brett, thank you. This has been a blast.
Yeah. Until next time, everybody, have a great day, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Marketing 32 Show. Take care.